sorry about that. Oh, so sorry about that. Thanks for coming back. Sorry about that. I'm outside and the sun started changing, and so the phone was getting hot and the phone just went off because it got too hot. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's what happens when the phone's in the sun. It got too hot. So, okay, so we'll just wrap this up and I'll just kind of recap what we were talking about. But thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us, Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, joyfulvegan.com. And we're just coming back. We lost the connection because my phone got too hot. I need to keep a fan on my phone. Tammy says, can I please repeat? Can I please repeat what part, Tammy? JV, thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back, everybody. Sorry about that. Welcome back, welcome back. You can go watch the first part of this for the bulk of the content that we talked about, but I will recap to make sure that you get some value out of this one that you're coming back and joining me for. So Colleen Patrick-Goudreau here from joyfulvegan.com, and we're talking about how to respond to the things that people say, and really what my responses are to some of the things that people say. I'm not just here to talk to vegans, I'm here to talk to non-vegans and newbies as well. So if you're new, I'd love to hear from you. Say, just type in new and I'll give you a shout out. And now that the umbrella is covering the sun, it'll be a little easier to read. Pauline said, I made a speech on veganism for a class and your podcast helped a lot. Oh, I'm so thrilled. You're not vegan, Jay Buzo. Well, welcome. Laid it on an ice pack. Well, it's cool now. As long as the sun doesn't hit it. I can't guarantee that it's not going to happen again, though. Birdsong, welcome. You're new. Did I respond to the plants having feelings question? No. I didn't see that. I must have gone off before I saw that. So what do you say when people say plants have feelings too? Okay, you're vegan, real Jakey, wonderful. Okay, so the plants question. Okay, the plants question. So you want my answer to the plants question? So yeah, so often, often people will ask this question. Every vegan's been asked this question before. Here's what I think, and as you know, my answers are never very short because I want to penetrate into your minds these thoughts. Of course, you know, so Tammy, yeah, you can answer specifically about the physiology of animals versus the makeup of plants. But I really think truthfully that people don't really care about plants when they ask that question. I don't think people are staying awake at night worried about plants and if they have feelings and if their feelings are hurt and if they're screaming and being murdered. I don't think people are laying awake at night trying to figure out how they can create a campaign to save the cauliflower. So I don't think people really are asking, what about plants? What about the plants? I care so much about the plants. I think what they're asking when they ask that question is, where's the line here? How far does this thing go? How can I reconcile the life that I live and the compassion that I have and the ethics that I have with all of these contradictions, and where do plants lie in this, right? So I think people are trying to kind of figure out how far this thing goes and what veganism really means. And so I think that's ultimately what people are asking when they ask about plants. So what happens when people ask you about plants is that when they do that, they're actually detracting us away from what the real issue is, which is that animals do feel pain. And that's what I want to speak to, rather than speak to whether plants feel pain or not. So my answer to that question is, so what does that have to do with anything? What we do know is that animals do feel pain. They suffer, they bleed, they fight to live, they have relationships, they don't want to die and they don't want to be killed. That's what's really at hand here. And until we figure out, you know, the truth, until we know more information, I can only act according to the information we do have. And the information we do have right now is that animals absolutely feel pain. Does that make sense? Does that help? So there's a conversation going on there, I see. I'm not really clear about what it is, and I'll take a look at it. But does that make sense? Does that help in terms of the question about plants? I don't think people really care about plants. But I know people do care about animals, and I think that's what we need to speak to more than anything else. So I'll take a look here. Does that make sense, everybody? You can send me some hearts if that makes sense. Tammy, that makes sense to you? Yeah, so let's just stay on topic. I think that's what's really the most important thing when people ask those questions. Okay. All right. So great. It makes sense. Sarah says, loving nature says, yes. Okay. So Someone is starting an argument. Okay, so if anybody has a genuine question to ask, you can ask me. So it looks like J Buzz, it looks like you've got something to say, and if you have a question to ask, I'd like to hear it if it's constructive and genuinely, if you're interested in an answer. Okay, so why don't you ask me specifically, J Buzz? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Are you vegan? Are vegan people usually skinny or switch to vegan to be skinny? There's a range of vegans. There's many vegans in the world. There's as much of a range of vegans and what they look like and why they do what they do as there are non-vegans. So I think it's there's a huge spectrum there. How can I help my kids understand, says Renee. Hello from Brazil. You're so articulate, Colleen, and thoughtful. Thank you, Emily. What's the specific definition of vegan? So, J Buzz, I'd really encourage you to go check out the Periscope video I did the other day. Periscopes disappear after 24 hours, but if you go to catch.me/joyfulvegan, you can find all of the Periscopes that I do so that once they disappear, you can still watch them. And it was actually specifically on the definition of veganism. And so, just to say very quickly, veganism is a way of living by which you do everything you can to not contribute to violence against animals. And so once you realize what you're contributing to through the meat, dairy, and egg industries and the wool industries and the silk industry, you just do the best you can to not contribute. And so you don't consume anything that comes off of or out of an animal. And what I talk about in that episode is that being vegan is about doing the best you can. It's not about trying to attain some certificate of perfection or purity, but there's so much we can do to alleviate the suffering of and violence against non-human animals, and that's what being vegan is about. Silk is included in that as well. Yes, silk, comes from animals. Catch.me, thank you. Yes, exactly, Carbon Marvin. KATCH.me. No other animals that are carnivore. I'm sorry, I missed what you said. And someone wrote to me yesterday and said, wow, Periscope is not for people with ADD. You really cannot have ADD if you want to be part of Periscope. I like it. I actually like the energy, but it can be hard if you're not good at if you don't like this kind of back and forth. So thanks Boodlums for putting catch.me/joyfulvegan is where you can find all the previous Periscopes, not the very early ones because I wasn't on Catch Me yet. Okay, love the energy too. Yeah, I like it. So, okay, recapping in terms of how to respond to people who might ask some silly questions, have a good sense of humor, put yourself in their shoes, continue to be humble. Ask questions back to people. Don't always feel like you have to have the answers. I think we often feel that we have to be experts in anthropology and history and ecology and animal husbandry and nutrition and the culinary arts. And I think that when we speak from the heart and we tell our story, it really makes a huge difference in terms of having a dialogue with people. I think ultimately asking the question, do I want to be right or do I want to be effective, is going to make us the best advocates for compassion as possible. Does that make sense? Does that help you? So I'm glad that helps. And do I have a podcast on how to talk to kids, says Tammy. Yeah, I have different episodes, specifically on talking to kids about being vegan. I have a couple different episodes on that, but I can do one specifically. In fact, the new podcast is just out. It just came out this morning on iTunes and Stitcher, and it's on raw versus cooked foods because that's the question that a lot of people ask. Thanks, Amy. Bite Size Vegan on YouTube has a great video playlist for kids. It's fantastic. And wonderful. So I have to go because my husband has a surprise planned for me. And if you're interested in this information, of course, you can find everything at joyfulvegan.com. You can go get the 30-day vegan challenge, which I highly recommend. It's $20 at Amazon. So we're talking $20 for a changed life, which I think is worth $20. So go get the 30-day vegan challenge, and you can find Joyful Vegan at Twitter. Simone says, I have ADD and I love Periscope. Fantastic. Thank you. Yes. Yes, so my husband and I create planned surprises for each other once a month, and so what we usually just say is like, I have a surprise for you, and you put it on the calendar, and then the person doesn't know where we're going, and then I always forget what we did when people ask us what surprises we've done for each other, because it doesn't go in the calendar, because it only goes in the calendar as surprise. So I never remember what the surprises were, but we're walking 7 or 8 miles. Someone said bring your phone. I'll do that, but this might be a private time between my husband and I. Don't know that we'll be periscoping during our time, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Might be something fun to share with you. It is romantic. It is romantic. Actually, on my YouTube channel, you can find a video that we made. It was called like 10 tips for for keeping the love alive or something like that, and for staying romantic. Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks everybody. I hope that helps. If you have other ideas and suggestions or questions for Periscopes, you can find me at joyfulvegan.com, and be sure to share this with your friends. I should write it down when I get back. You can swipe to the right if you're on your iPhone and swipe up on your Android, and you can invite people to join. People can keep doing that even on the rebroadcast, which lasts for 24 hours, and you can keep sending hearts as well. Thanks for coming back to this broadcast. I apologize for the break, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, Carbon Marvin. Thanks for your hearts, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and have a wonderful day yourself on this lovely Sunday. For those who are in Australia, you're probably already in Monday. Okay, you're welcome, everybody. Thanks, JV. Thanks, Married Vegans. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Goodbye, Tammy. Goodbye, Debbie. Goodbye, everybody. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys join us again. You're welcome, Amy. Bye. You're welcome. You're all so sweet. Thank you. We have the best people here. Love it. Goodbye, Que Sera. My mom used to sing me that song.